Hi, I'm Phyllis, and welcome to my Southern Simply Kitchen, where Southern food is simply done. Today, I'm stepping away from the South, and I'm going to make something that I call pantry soup. It was inspired by a podcast I listened to called The Splendid Table, and I heard them talking about soup made with simply pantry ingredients. And so during COVID-19 quarantine, this is something that almost everybody can make. And when your pantry's running low, this is when you make it. And I have, our ingredients are going to be, we need some olive oil and salt. We need a can of tomatoes, 2 cans of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, whichever you call it, and those need to be drained. A sprig of rosemary, which I went and cut out of my little patio garden. I need a hot pepper or some chili flakes. These little hot peppers came from my grandmother many years ago, and we grow them and dry them every year, so I'll throw one of those in there. You're going to need the zest and juice from a lemon, but this lemon is huge. See how big that is in my hand? So I'm probably only going to need half of the juice from this lemon. We're going to need a diced onion, and this one will give you about a cup, so that's how big your onion needs to be, and this is a sweet onion. We're going to use 2 cloves of garlic and then a little bit of Parmesan at the very end. So you get your ingredients together, see what you've got in your pantry. I'll get my things together. Okay, we're back and we're ready to get started. I've got my this is a 3.5 quart pot, and so just turn my burner on medium, and I am going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I know maybe that sounds like a lot. It's really a not, because this soup, if you would leave the Parmesan cheese out, I believe it is a vegan soup, as long as your beans are vegan, or at least vegetarian. And so that was my onion. I already diced it up, and so I'll get it in here. And then I have my little grandma pepper, and what I do with my little dried pepper is I take the top off and then I just break it up. And if you're sensitive to hot, don't do it with just your hands. You can chop it up, but it doesn't really bother me. So anyway, that's what I do. And if you don't have, like I do, little dried peppers, you can use those little peppers like you would sprinkle on top of your pizza. So the little chili flakes. So anyway, we have our onion and we have our dried pepper in there, and then we are going to put our 2 cloves of garlic, which I like to put them in my garlic press. And if you don't have a garlic press, chop it up by hand. It's easy to do, but this is even easier. And so just squeeze it, and there's your 2 cloves of garlic all ready to go into the pot. So 2 cloves of garlic there. And we are going to let this saute a little bit until the onions get nice and soft, get a little translucent, and you can smell the fragrance of the garlic. So we'll be back in just a minute, and we'll add in our other ingredients. Okay, my onion and garlic have sauteed with our pepper in it, and so the next step is to add your can of tomatoes. And I like the petite diced tomatoes because they are chopped really fine, no big chunks in there, so you get lots of tomato. And then I take, and of course I always rinse out the can, but for this particular thing you need tomato in there anyway, so I take and I'm going to rinse out the can, the whole can, and put a whole can of water in there. So a tomato can of water, and then I have rinsed and drained my chickpeas, and so here they are, and so we want to put those in. And then this is a 5 to 6 inch sprig of rosemary. We just have a little plant growing around our patio out there outside, and so I just go snip off a piece. If you don't have fresh rosemary, I'm sure you can use dried rosemary, and I'd probably put in a half to 1 teaspoon. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. So, and I just put the whole sprig in there, and then when my soup is done, I just take the sprig back out, and so it just doesn't have won't have the little bits of rosemary in there, but you can do it either way. Now this needs to simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. I usually let mine go about 20 minutes, and I'm going to put the top on it. And so we will be back in about 20 minutes, and we'll get this soup finished up. Okay, it's been our 20 minutes. This soup smells delicious. It smells wonderful. And I had reduced my heat to medium-low after I'd put the lid on. After it kind of came to a boil, then I turned it down and wound up cooking the 20 minutes on medium-low. And so the first thing I want to do before I do anything else is let's take that rosemary out and see. Just the whole thing comes out. A few of the little pieces of rosemary fell off in the pot, but that's just fine, and I can drop that in my trash. And then I have zested that half a lemon because I had the giant lemon, and so I want to put the lemon zest in there. You can taste your soup at any point and see if you need salt, but I tasted mine and I didn't really feel like it needed any salt. I didn't use unsalted beans or the unsalted tomatoes, so I think that turned out to be just about right, or at least it was when I tasted it. And now I'm going to put in the juice of my half lemon, and so I think I've shown you this before, but you just put your lemon in upside down and just mash, and it just squeezes lemon juice and it catches the seed. It's just a wonderful little invention, whoever did it. The first time when I first got it, it looked like to me I should have the lemon turned right side up to do it. I tried that, but you know what? You don't get any lemon juice out when you do it that way. So anyway, just squeeze that lemon juice into there, and it's time to give this soup a stir, and then we'll taste it. It's time to add whatever we need for the end. Usually I put a little bit of salt in there, but I don't think it's going to need any, but we'll see. Oh, that lemon to the end of it just awakens the whole thing and brightens it up. And so our soup is ready now. So let me get a bowl and a ladle, and I'll give it a try. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, soup is ready. Got my bowl here, and this just makes a most beautiful bowl of soup. And so you want to be sure you have some of the chickpeas, and these chickpeas don't fall apart when you put them in your bowl. And this is probably 4 servings of soup in this pot. I'm going to put a little bit more broth. And it's a nice, rich, tomatoey broth. And so you go very light on your salt because you're going to put a little parm on the top, and parm can be salty. And you just want to grate some over the top, or if you have some that's already grated, or if you don't like Parmesan, leave it off. Sometimes I eat it with, sometimes I eat it without. But now I get to taste this, and make sure you taste it with a piece of some of the chickpeas, a little bite of onion, a little bit of tomato, and that wonderful broth with the lemon. That soup is just so wonderful. It reminds me of a summertime dish because the lemon just wakes that whole taste up, and you've got the rosemary flavor in your broth. The whole thing, it's just a wonderful thing. It's made with Pantry ingredients, so go grab your ingredients, make use of a pot of Pantry soup or chickpea and tomato soup, and we will be eating well. So enjoy your time off during quarantine, and happy eating.